All right, welcome to another long format discussion about our weather here in the Coastal Bend. I'm Alan Holt, Chief Meteorologist, KIII TV, based in Corpus Christi, Texas. And again, it's been cold here. We've had a significant cold outbreak. Arctic air has filtered in. We're done with any precip associated with this air mass. And we've got one more freeze ahead of us before we start to thaw, if you want to call it that. We did get into the low 40s this afternoon. And again, we are going to be talking a bunch about the freeze tonight. It's another hard freeze. We'll be talking about a sunny delight Thursday, another front Friday, another possible freeze Saturday morning, and then why I'm thinking rain chances next week are fairly lucrative looking at this point. Lots to digest and go over. This is going to be like a 30-minute talk. Just like to go over the time before we start. Looks like it's about to be 8:37 on January the 16th, 8:37 at night. So today's numbers, it was cold, some 20 degrees below average in both the high and the low temperature in Corpus Christi today. Typically upper 60s in the day, upper 40s at night. Not a record low, 16, the record low temperature, long-standing record low back in 1888, so nowhere close to that. And one note on the Almanac, because I'm going to reference this when we get to the rain chances next week. The year-to-date precipitation total, we have a plus sign there, over 2 inches of rain so far in January, and that is a surplus for the month. So we're already above average on rainfall this year, and more is coming, it looks like, next week. It's been cold. We've spent over 30 hours at or below freezing Monday morning through Tuesday morning in Corpus Christi. Tonight we've got another 12 to 14 hour freeze ahead of us. Temperatures are just, last time I checked, I think it was 33 in Corpus Christi at 8 o'clock. Rockport, you spent over 30 hours below freezing consecutively. These are just consecutive numbers, and I didn't pick all the cities, just the ones that I knew were for sure in this range. Port Aransas over 30 hours, and Beeville was the max that I could find, 40 hours at or below freezing. There were everybody saw freezing values. I don't want to discount anyone's freeze experience, but some made it above freezing yesterday. For example, Kingsville, Hebronville, Val, Furious, you guys all made it into the mid-30s yesterday, and that kept your consecutive run of freezing temperatures closer to 12 to 18 hours rather than 30 to 40 hours like these locations. Alice, your thermometer, there's something going on with it, and I can't tap into it to get the data. So there's no readings coming out of Alice. You'll see on the maps that I don't think the temperature's popping up, but it's been cold. One more hard freeze moving this way tonight. It will be clear out. We're not going to have as much cloud coverage as we had last night, although just by looking at the satellite imagery, it looks like there's a lot of clouds. But if you go outside and look up, you'll see that they're very wispy, thin clouds. You can see the stars, so mainly clear out this Tuesday night. And there's that 33 degrees in Corpus Christi. There are about half the area is freezing right now. George West, 31. Beeville in the upper 20s, as is Refugio. And out near Benavides, that Duval County Park coming in 29 degrees right now, 8:41 January the 16th. The wind, this is going to be the biggest difference between last night and tonight. The wind is not going to be nearly as strong. It was really gusty last night. Put wind chill values down into the single digits this morning. A lot of places in the lower 10s. So with the wind settling down, the wind chill right now is nowhere near the way it was yesterday and more so this morning. I saw a 9-degree feel-like temperature in Corpus Christi at 7 o'clock this morning. So we're not going to get that low, but it will be cold. Wind chill warnings are posted till 9 o'clock in the morning Wednesday. And I do think we see the middle and upper teens and low 20s out of tonight's 6 to 12 mile per hour north breeze. But again, nowhere near the level of bite that these winds had last night. I just posted that little phrase to Facebook. Nowhere near. So cold, yes. As cold as this morning was, no, heading into tomorrow morning. That being said, teens, it's plenty cold. Dress in layers and then put one extra layer on if you're going to be spending more than 15 or so minutes outside, because this cold, there's just something about South Texas cold that kind of just cuts right through clothing, it seems. So I always go one more layer than I think I'm going to need, especially if I'm spending lengthy amounts of time outside. We've got freeze warnings plastered throughout the region. Those darker purple hues, those are the freeze warnings, and then the lighter purple hues, those are the hard freeze warnings. And really the only difference is the light purple areas are going to be colder. They're going to be in the mid to low 20s. The lighter or the darker shades near eastern Nueces, eastern Clayburg, and our barrier islands, those locations, upper 20s, low 30s there. So I do think we see an area-wide freeze tonight. Here are the numbers. 25 at the airport in Corpus Christi. The low for tomorrow, the record low, is 23, another long-standing record back in 1930. Some teens possible up in B County, low 20s running rampant inland and to the north, and then mid-20s as you get closer to the coast. I want to do a zoomed-in, hyper-local look at the Corpus Christi Bay area because the Bay plays an influence on temperatures more so south of the Bay, given the wind speed coming in from the north. So that wind is bringing air over the Bay, and the Bay's in the low 50s, maybe into the upper 40s. Temperatures are falling on the sea surface temperatures, and that influence keeps maybe, you have a little bit of a quote-unquote warmer look to the temperatures on Ocean Drive, upper 20s, Flower Bluff, low 30s, but still freezing, and freezing on the island as well. So I do think everyone freezes, but there will be a little bit of a spread in what numbers you see given your location. South side, I got at 27, Cal Allen 24, Portland 25. Everybody generally in the mid-20s unless you're being influenced by water like the island. So cold. We're expecting another freeze. If you have not had any trouble and you've been doing your pipe prep and all that, do the same thing tonight. You'll be good. Just need to drip one faucet slowly, the farthest one from your main water source. The one that's going to circulate around the most is the one that you need to slow drip. Outdoor spigots covered. You want those exposed pipes covered up. So anywhere air can touch pipe, that's where you want to protect it from the elements. And then the drip is inside. Sensitive plants inside, pets inside, people inside. Living things need to be sheltered. So plants covered, bring them in if you can. It's going to be cold, but this is the last cold night, really, that this Arctic air mass is going to deliver. And something that has been happening quite a bit, the questions about roads and if they're going to be okay in the morning, they're going to be fine. We're not expecting any more rain, freezing rain, any more precipitation. So that means that the roads won't freeze. You've got to have moisture on the roads for them to become problematic and freeze and become icy, and we're just not going to see that. So the roads will remain dry and they will remain drivable overnight, and we should not we will not see any issues on the road given the lack of precipitation in the forecast. So roads are going to be good. Here's evidence. SPID. Traffic's smooth on the road in front of our studio. 33 degrees, dew point in the mid-teens. I don't know about y'all, I've been drinking a lot of water today and my lips are still chapped. Sometimes I turn my neck and I can feel like the skin on the back of my neck feels chapped. The air's dry. So even though, you know, it's not hot and we're sweltering and we're sweating, you probably still need to be drinking plenty of water because the dryness of the air is sucking the moisture out of our skin. So we're losing moisture. Drinking water is big when it's cold and very dry like this. Winds are at 10, 25 on the wind chill right now. And into the rest of the night, we're gonna be in for another 12 to maybe as much as 16 hours worth of freezing temperatures. This is for locations away from the coast. So Corpus Christi International Airport, the George West, Freer, that's where the long duration hard freeze is going to be. It'll only be maybe 3 to 6 hours on the islands and likely a light freeze closer to the lower 30s or upper 20s. And mainly clear. So we'll see those wispy cirrus clouds, the higher altitude variety overnight into tomorrow morning. Then we get the lower level clouds in the afternoon. That's kind of going to suppress some of the warmth that we try to get tomorrow. It's going to be a cool day, near 50 for most everybody. Winds will be turning from the northeast in the morning back to out of the southeast in the afternoon. And with that wind flipping around to the south, we're going to warm more so into Thursday. No freezing, no 30s on Thursday morning, mid 40s to low 50s for the most part. A few clouds in the morning, then we get the wispiness, the high altitude cirrus clouds, and temperatures. I think Thursday is going to be the gem of the week with respect to how it feels to be outside in the afternoon. We're going to be sitting pretty in the low 70s. It'll be a sunny delight, a light southwest breeze, 10 miles per hour. And, you know, it's going to be nice. Thursday will be nice. After Thursday, we get a cold front coming through here, and that one's going to bring in more Arctic air. We'll show you how that happens here in a sec. But look at how cold Texas is. 16 in Amarillo, 30 in San Antonio, 20 in Dallas, only, one spot in the 40s. That's El Paso, way out in West Texas. High pressure sitting right over top of the state. And the next storm system right now is moving into the Pacific Northwest. So that storm system, you see the low pressure marked there, it's going to be a twofold way that our next cold front comes in. Before that happens, high pressure moves off to the east tomorrow. We'll still see a freeze, a hard freeze in the morning, but no precipitation, a little milder Wednesday. And this is how that low coming in from the west will interact with the cold front moving in from Canada. So the low, it's spinning counterclockwise, and that spin as the low moves across and to the north of Texas from west to east, Wednesday into Thursday, that movement is going to draw down the Arctic air mass that's sitting up near Canada, and it's going to bring us another front. So there's the sunny delight Thursday as we're awaiting the arrival of this next front, and then it comes in Thursday night / Friday morning. It'll be an overnight arrival, should be a dry passage, and this one's going to have Arctic origins, so we're not going to see it initially on Friday. Friday's just going to be a breezy and cool type of day. We'll stay in the 50s in the afternoon, some afternoon sun. North winds will be breezy, 15, 25, gusts to 35 miles per hour. So it's going to be breezy. The windiest part of Friday will be in the morning. Winds won't be quite as strong in the afternoon. But Friday night into Saturday morning, as that cold Arctic air again starts to settle in, I think we will have a light freeze in parts of the coastal bend. So another one on Saturday. although this is the European model showing mid-30s, but given the outlook from some of the other guidance, certainly possible to have another light freeze heading in to Saturday morning. After that, now this is where we switch gears because we're going to go from talking about freezes and Arctic air to more of an El Nino influence, and this is going to be, I think, amplified by something called the Arctic oscillation. So now we're getting into some teleconnection type talk, and teleconnections in the meteorological world is where we see something happening in one part of the world and that has an influence on what other areas see. So that's what we mean by teleconnection. And for El Nino, which we're still in, it looks like El Nino will wane over the spring. It'll subside. It won't be as El Nino-y in the spring, but we're still in it right now. We will be through the remainder of winter. It tends to deliver a lot of Pacific moisture, and within that moisture, you get more clouds. Under clouds, you tend to be cooler, so wetter and cooler than average across much of Texas and much of the southeastern U.S. So this tends to bring lucrative rain for the cooler months with respect to average for a lot of locations in the south. So that's El Nino. This is the Arctic oscillation, and this is the European ensemble outlook. And you see the middle line there is 0. That's neutral. The negative phase is what we're in right now. So at the beginning of the chart, we're looking at Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. We're in the negative phase right now. And in the negative phase, you tend to get Arctic air moving more easily to the south. By the time we get to early next week, you see how there's a peak there, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I labeled it on the chart. We're going to be in a positive phased Arctic oscillation, and significantly positive. We're going to be more so positive than we are negative right now. So we'll be on the flip side of the AO, the Arctic oscillation. And what that means when you're in this positive phase is that the polar jet stream winds, the winds that circulate the most northern latitudes closer to the poles, with those winds being stronger, the Arctic air tends to stay bottled up closer to the poles where you would expect to find it. So that's in a positive phased Arctic oscillation. So we have two things happening for us. One, El Nino's influence, bringing that Pacific moisture, and two, that being a little more amplified with most of the polar jet stream winds staying well to the north and keeping a lot of that Arctic air locked up toward the poles. So next week, starting Sunday, really, I think is when we're going to start to see chances. We're going to see a much more zonal flow within the jet stream. And zonal flow means west to east, left to right on the map. And within that flow, we're going to have more disturbances coming in from the Pacific. So I'm not really ready to say exactly what time, exactly where, exactly how much. This is just pattern recognition into early next week. And with this Pacific moisture coming in, we're going to probably have milder temperatures and more opportunities for rain with all of these things lining up. So this is zonal flow, right? I'm just going to take this piece of paper and just kind of show you zonal, flat. The other way the jet stream can be is something called meridional. That's when it looks like this. It's all wavy, right? That's meridional flow. And that's how the Arctic air worked southward. We had a big dip in the jet stream meridional flow, and that allowed that Arctic air to move this way, right? So zonal flow, Arctic oscillation, El Nino, we are hitting all of the educational tick marks here tonight on this streaming Facebook, 3 News Plus, YouTube. By the way, I always try to plug our YouTube page. Let me see if I can. The link never pastes when I do it. Maybe one of our staff can do it, but yeah. So we have a YouTube channel. KIII TV has a YouTube channel. Just search KIII and you're probably going to find it pretty easily. If you subscribe to that, you can see all of these things whenever you want. There's all of our news content is up there too. It's almost like a digital library of stuff. You can just like watch your own newscast of stories that just you want to see from Channel 3. So cool resource there. This one will go there. But back to the forecast at hand. We talked about all of these things lining up to deliver a more active pattern for rain here. And this is from the Weather Prediction Center. It's a branch of NOAA. They focus on longer range outlooks. They focus on wide-ranging precipitation, winter-type weather. So this is a valuable branch of the Weather Service, and they're looking at all this stuff too, and they're putting in, we're going up to this 70% range on the precipitation above average, which is very high, given this is a 6 to 10 day outlook. It's up there. We're talking really starting Sunday, but more so into next week. And I think the prime time looks like early next week, Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. So no telling where exactly things fall. I know we're close to stage 2 water restrictions here, a little over 30% between Choke and Lake Corpus Christi. So, ideally we would want to fall north and west of Corpus Christi since we've already gotten cashed in on our quota for the month in January. So if this were to fall like west of San Antonio and extend to the southwest of San Antonio, that would be ideal for us, but there's no telling. It just looks promising from a pattern perspective in terms of us getting some rain in Texas. It's also going to be milder, not quite as robust on the percentage of chance for above average temps, but we're not going to see, I don't think, aside from Friday's front, anything strong come through here while these rain chances are in play. So average for us this time of year in Corpus Christi is upper 60s and upper 40s day night. We'll probably be close to, if not a little above that. I think the overnight lows will actually be a lot more above average than typical. Whenever we have a lot of humidity and rain, they tend to not be as cold, but it does look milder. Here's the temperature forecast. There's the front Thursday night into Friday. Friday is going to be cooler with that light freeze. I got 31 right now for Corpus Christi Saturday morning. And then we were just talking about the Monday, Tuesday time frame. You see how those overnight lows jump up into the upper 50s there, Monday and Tuesday morning with highs close to 70 degrees. So a little above average on Tuesday with overnight lows well above average into that time frame. Almost done here. Rainfall, we've got it in there starting Sunday and ramping up into Monday, Tuesday. Timing is not going to be the best. We're still 6 days out or so. So timing, this is something that we're watching. Things are looking promising at this point. So just kind of giving the heads up that it looks like we're going to be entering a more active period with rain chances coming in more numerously early next week. Tonight, first things first, a hard freeze, 25, less wind. You're going to have less wind, so the wind chill in the teens or low 20s. It's still going to be cold though. Bundle up, do the pipes, all the P's, people, plants, pets. That's tonight. The last freeze really with this Arctic air mass. And then tomorrow back up to around 50. Less wind. It'll be cool. More clouds in the afternoon. If you're on the water, smooth. Water temps are now in the low 50s. It's chilly in the Gulf now with all these low freezing readings going on. Hopefully there's no cold stunned turtles that can happen when water temperatures get right around 50 degrees. So be on the lookout for that if you're at the beach. But we're seeing those water temps really drop off. Might even get into the upper 40s after tonight's cold weather with the freeze area wide. But waters will be smooth in the morning, maybe just a touch of chop in the afternoon. And I always like to end it with the 7-day, just like TV, because it's a nice wrap up of everything that we've been discussing. And I'm looking forward to Thursday. Thursday looks great. We'll have that hard freeze in the morning. Thursday, high of 71. Sunny delight. Friday, windier. That front coming through, light freeze possible on Saturday morning, and then the rain chances start to increase as we work into early next week. So we're going to wrap it up. It's 9:02. We spent 30 minutes talking about the weather. Trying to get our producers to do that for our 10 o'clock show one of these nights. They're not going to, though. I'm going to stick to the 2:30 to 3 minutes that we're afforded. But yeah, a lot more depth on these longer format chats. By the way, there's a few hundred people on here. If you like this and you want we write all of this stuff out on our website, the weather page on our website every day, all of these graphics, you can read it at your own leisure. And we are all updating it. So if I work, I'm updating it. Carly works, she's updating it. Faith, Kristen over the weekend, they're all updating. We're all updating with our thoughts. And it's just good insight and analysis. And I feel like it's a really good, untapped, kind of lesser known resource that we do and provide for this area. Everything has a coastal bend focus, and it's just good information. So with that, we'll leave it, and we'll see y'all at 10 o'clock for the news. And if not there, we'll see you somewhere in the digital verse. And stay warm. It's going to be cold tonight.